From Fox 2 Detroit, we welcome on sports reporter Jennifer Hammond, we were both at the arena, but were rudely kicked out due to a fire alarm being pulled.
Right? That was something.
There's a strange exit because usually
It,
the senior day tradition, you stay until the last person leaves, and then
right.
everybody left. But
Yep. Till the last autograph is signed, till the last picture is snapped. But it's funny because on Friday night, I was at a Pistons game where the horn was stuck. There was a 12-minute horn malfunction at the Pistons game on Friday night. And then at Oakland, this happened. And it was just kind of a comedy of errors with all of the horns and blaring noises and technology. But it's, you know what, par for the course. You roll with it as it comes.
exactly, yeah. But Jennifer, I wanted to talk about the game itself. So you've covered multiple editions of this series, and I've hammered it all week leading up to it that the stakes of this game were much higher than they have been in a long time. So where did you see that on the court? Did you see that kind of boosted energy to this game in this rivalry?
Oh, yeah, I think there was extreme desperation, probably a little more so from U of D. I mean, just because of the way that they came out and finished that game when they needed it most. And even Mark Montgomery told me afterwards, he said, we needed that, right? We really needed that. And he also kind of hammered home the point that it's not a rivalry until you beat your rival. So for many years, I mean, I think that Campy has won 22 of the last 25 against the Titans. And Montgomery said himself, you know what? This rivalry and the record has nothing to do with the guys that are wearing the jersey today, wearing the Titans jersey today. It has to do with what happened in the past. But these are guys that are absolutely, working their tails off to change the culture, and make sure that this now becomes a respectable rivalry. And they can own the loss that they had earlier this year against Oakland on their court, but to go into the arena and beat that team on senior day, I think it was a pretty good effort. And obviously, LJ Lovejoy was incredible. He was incredible.
He was, and he was always a player that we've had our eye on. And for me, TJ Nadu was also, especially seeing his last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Oakland has hosted quite a few 3-point shooters that have torched us, and he is just the latest in that list. He was just incredible, especially that first half.
Yeah, and it was really cool. I mean, to see Nadu and also Navru also, come 2 points short, both of them of their career highs. I mean, these guys did ball out. And even afterwards, Lovejoy said to me on the court, he had full praise for Coach Campy and his program. And he's like, for us to come in here and beat this team and that coach is a really big deal because they're really the kind of the gold standard in the Horizon League for all intents and purposes. So I think there's a lot of respect between these two programs. There have been times when I don't think it's always been there. But I think between Monty and Campy, they know that they've got to keep pushing their program forward because they make each other better. And I think what's good for each of those teams is competition, and also it really emboldens kind of the Detroit story of kids now wanting to play at U of D and wanting to stay at Oakland and be part of this rivalry, and also get these teams maybe into the NCAA tournament.
And kind of zooming out for Detroit's rise, because, I mean, I graduated Oakland in 24, and that year when Oakland was regular season champs, beat Kentucky, at the same time, Detroit won a single game. And to kind of see where Detroit has risen now since that point, talk about kind of like what that program, when they're good, what it means to the city.
Yeah, I think it's really important to the city because that's a team that the 70s, there were a lot of really important players and moments in Detroit at UDM, and I love seeing this team come back to relevance. And to Lovejoy's point yesterday, there's a lot of guys on this team. He's one of them that has Detroit roots, and I think that really speaks to what the passion is for a city. I don't think you can fully embrace and lean into a rivalry unless you understand it, right? Understand the history of it and also have pride. And you've got to really know what matters. And when it's a game like that, especially when it's been so lopsided over the past, whatever, 10 years, decade or more, it's really cool to see these guys come out on top. And I love camp, and I love when players get to win on senior day on their own court. But to see the scene play out afterwards with Campy and those guys on the court, and Rue in particular, when he was sobbing and they had those messages from his family down in Australia.
Hmm.
It was a really cool moment. And I snapped a picture of Campy standing behind his players as they all came together in a group on the court. And I tweeted it out and I said, this is the true definition of a coach that has his team's back. Because Greg Campy is just a guy who, he'll fight for his guys, uh, you know, till the end. And it's really fun to watch that unfold. It really is about the kids at the end of the day.
Definitely, and I'll be honest, I got a little bit teary eyed when I saw Baruz as well. Just
Yeah,
it's just
right.
that just I don't think there's a dry eye in the arena for that
No,
moment.
it was
It
really special because he's a heck of a dude, not just a good player. He's a great dude.
definitely, yeah, I'm lucky I've gotten the chance to interview him a few times, and I got that sense as well. And you kind of hinted at it where when it comes to how Oakland does their senior day, Campy brags about it all the time, and he uses it as a recruiting tool as well. But the way he does senior day is truly special. Do you feel that way too?
Oh, yeah, and it was really cute because we needed to get our interview done with him, and I felt bad stepping in front of fans. I said, I just two quick questions, but the very first picture that he actually took was with his son and his two grandchildren, and it was just adorable. I mean, there's Papa on the court with his team, and they've got this cute little sign. And it's just really fun. And to see all of the fans, to your point, linger, even as that alarm was going off, I think everybody was still like hanging around. People are like, what fire? I don't see a
Yeah,
fire. I'm
like
getting
it'll
my
turn off
autograph.
soon.
Yeah, it'll go off soon. I'm getting my picture. So it's really cool to see that. And those kids, I mean, those five guys that were honored yesterday deserved every moment of that. And now they've got a game at home, which is important. And it's going to be really, high stakes now because this is win or go home time for them.
Definitely, and we're going to be excited to cover that as well. I'll be there at the arena for all of you wondering. I'll be following them throughout the tournament. But Jennifer, I wanted to close out by kind of getting an outside perspective because obviously you're covering everything in Detroit sports, and obviously the biggest stories rise to the top and rise to your eyes and your coverage. And I'm curious for both the rivalry as a whole and Oakland in particular. Where do they kind of sit in Detroit sports culture? I know it can't be at the height of the Lions or, some of the professional teams. But where do you see these kind of two Horizon League teams in that culture?
You know what, Gio? That is a great question. And I just had this conversation in the sports office a short time ago with Woody Woodruff, my coworker. And I said, and we were talking about the four main professional sports teams right now. And I said, can you think of a time that we have covered sports in Detroit, which is almost 30 years, each of us, and that they've had better coaches between AJ Hinch with the Tigers, JB Bickerstaff with the Pistons, Todd McClellan with the Wings, and Dan Campbell with the Lions. And we agreed unequivocally that these are the four best as far as quality, winning percentage, good guys, and great quotes that we've had in the pro level. So I would take that a step further and say, in the history of this rivalry between UDM and Coach Campy, or sorry, UDM and Oakland University, but Oakland University is Greg Campy, the basketball program at least. These are the two best coaches for these programs. Obviously, Campy's been a mainstay, but I love Mark Montgomery at UDM. I think he's going to be great for the program. He already has been great for the program, and the ascension and the level that he's risen, brought this team to, like you said, in such a short time after finishing with just one win, it's nothing short of remarkable. And also then you've got Tom Izzo and Dusty May at Michigan and Michigan State. And I do think in short order, Dusty May is understanding the Michigan State rivalry, especially after the very brief terse handshake in East Lansing last month when they beat them. So it's really cool to watch and experience. And Monty understands UDM in Oakland and what's at stake there and what it means. And I think that's the most important thing you can ask of coaches. So I would say across the board, pro sports, college sports, Metro Detroit has the best coaches that we've seen here in the 30 plus years that I've covered sports in Detroit.
Definitely, and especially it comes after pretty much a decade of the very opposite. So like all of it is just
Absolutely.
kind of coming at once, and it's
Yeah,
amazing.
which makes it even more joyful, prideful, and incredible for the fans. I mean, to ride this wave of pro Detroit, teams, feeling, the draft, everything that we've got going on in this city. Now's a great time to be in this area. You know, Michigan and Southeast Michigan as a whole is really thriving.
And we thank you very much for joining us, Jennifer Hammond from Fox 2 Detroit, our one of our favorite sports reporters
Aw,
that we have out
thanks,
there.
Gio. Hope to see you Wednesday.
Definitely, I'll be there.